Hope you are doing well today. My name is Irene, and today we are together with a technical guy. His name is Paul.
Thank you, Irina.
Today we continue our webinar session. Before we proceed, let's check our sound. Do you hear me well, please? Can you answer question? I hope line is good because we already have experience with all these webinars. Just small pause. I believe sound is coming, so everything is okay. In previous webinars, we were talking about advanced machinery telematics. My colleagues presented solutions as fuel level sensors, D2 BLE, Bluetooth wireless versions, fuel flow meters, including DFM Marine and DFM Industrial. Yesterday, it was presentation about CAN bus contactless readers, and before we were talking also about Excel load sensors. And today, I will focus your attention on MasterCAN CAN bus tools. We'll talk deeper about this sphere of market. There are several MasterCAN tools. First part is MasterCAN Display, Display 35. This display is installed into the cabin to see data locally from fuel sensors or any type of sensors, and also from analog sensors and data from CAN bus of standard vehicle. Even not vehicle, it can be generators, locomotives, any access where you can find CAN bus network, standard CAN bus of equipment. Another part is CAN bus analyzer simulator. This device allows to scan data from CAN bus and simulate CAN bus in the office. MasterCAN DAC, input-output models, it converts from analog signal to digital ones. MasterCAN data converters, those devices are used to convert data from protocols like J1939 to J1708, and also interface like RS-232 or 485 or Modbus. Contactless FMS Gatewaves is two-in-one device. One function is to connect to have a contactless connection to wires of CAN bus, not to damage it, and also to get FMS data ready and selected parameters from CAN bus according to FMS protocol. Further in this presentation, we will talk partly about each of these devices. Main tasks of all converters, especially like MasterCAN Tool and conversion DAC and FMS gateways, is to convert data from one protocol to another. For example, from J1939 protocol to J1708, or with some specific models I will mention further, from CAN interface J1939 to RS-232 or 485 or Modbus. Imagine situation sometimes vehicles like Volvo or John Deere, they have two types of buses. One is J1939 and another is 1708, and they have both of them. You need to read data simultaneously from both buses. And your GPS tracker is able to get data only via CAN. So there is no J1708 input, just one input CAN. That's why you need to get converter to get data from both type of buses. Or sometimes GPS trackers are limited to get millions of messages from CAN bus, and they need to get already filtered and processed parameters from CAN bus to read specific group of those parameters. Models of MasterCAN devices are MasterCAN CC, Input of this device is CAN. Output is also CAN. But main function is to filter and select a group of parameters that you need for telematics purposes. Not millions of messages that are available in CAN bus, but just a specific parameter that you need to read. I will mention further what kind of those parameters are available in CAN bus. MasterCAN SAE J1939 and 485 input is CAN, but output interface already 232, 485, or also Modbus is available. MasterCAN VGate input is CAN, output is 1708 or RS232. Modbus is also available. All those types of MasterCAN devices, they have indicators on top, and indicators really useful to get and see that data is coming during your installations. Indicators are put per power signal, also interfaces, and indicator per input and output signal. Really useful to rely on those indicators to be sure that your wires are connected properly and you install this device in electronics place of CAN bus in proper way. Output messages in electronic CAN bus of the vehicle, there are actually plenty of them, but most useful for telematics is engine speed, instant fuel consumption, trip fuel consumption, engine temperature, oil pressure, engine torque, coolant level, or oil level, or even fuel level. Of course, if we are talking about CAN bus of the vehicle, it's a mathematical calculation of data. When you're installing additionally fuel sensors, like fuel flow meter or fuel level sensor, those sensors gives direct measurement of data. And of course, it's more accurate to read data directly from engine or from the tank itself. But in small cars or vans or even heavy-duty trucks, additional information can be taken from CAN bus, like I mentioned, for example, engine speed or engine temperature. Is also useful to combine all those together on GPS tracker and server. When we're talking about a place where to get all those parameters, sometimes you wish to connect to OBD port, but generally OBD port is for diagnostics purposes. We always recommend to find another place for connection that's responsible for engine control unit or ABS unit control unit of CAN bus of the vehicle. Features of CAN bus converters and CAN bus devices. Actually, main feature and main advantages of all those devices is to read data safely, to get safe connection to electronics, because it's not our development. Wires of some manufacturer. It's you can understand. We need to protect wires from engine or from manufacturer, or even if the vehicle under the guarantee. So it's important. We don't interfere into CAN bus. We just listen signal around wires of CAN bus and transmit those parameters to GPS tracker. Besides these advantages as safe connection, we also have intelligent combination, intelligent combine of several CAN bus. Like I said, both buses, for example, on Volvo or John Deere trucks. Also, signal protection of reception of analog sensors, digital conversion and transmission to the CAN bus. This function and feature is related to MasterCAN converters from analog to digital signals. Identification of necessary parameters. from CAN bus and transmission to GPS tracker. So we need to identify to what parameters we need to get from CAN bus, and just to transmit what's useful for us, not millions and some messages that not useful for telematics purposes generally. Just a second, please. And we are going further, and I will talk deeper about MasterCAN Display 35. This device is installed, as I mentioned, in the cabin of equipment or vehicle. We get data from fuel sensors and analog devices and display those data locally, where it's convenient for us. I like application for display is when we install in display in the cabin of vessels or locomotives, and I will talk further about these applications. For example, on this slide, we have application with the locomotives. Display is installed at the beginning of locomotive and also at the end of locomotive. Display allows to connect up to 8 fuel level sensors and 8 fuel flow meters. On this picture, we find DFM Marine. It's a big fuel flow meter for main engine of locomotives. Small generators, there is also a fuel flow meter, and 3 fuel level sensors. All of them combined and connected to display. Display at the beginning and display at the end of locomotives will have identical information and will show both parameters for that. All of these devices are combined with special S6 network. It's our cabling system. About this cabling system, we're talking in previous webinars. Probably you already know these advantages as S6 combination. Another example is 2 generators. Here we need to read data from CAN bus of generators. Usually when generators are new, they already have CAN bus and they have electronic data. That's why some parameters we can take even from there, and it's useful to analyze for telematics purposes. Besides that, we installed fuel level sensors into the tank of generators and fuel flow meters. Both generators get fuel from main common tank, and this fuel is coming to small tanks of generators. We install display in convenient place where it's convenient access for us, and we will be able to see all possible data for the complex of our object. In this case, it's 2 generators. I like also example about boats and waste trucks. About boats, fleet owner of boats can install fuel flow meter on their own engine, and in the cabin they install display. They see fuel consumption in display, and it's useful information for captain or owner of the boat in order to optimize fuel consumption and to avoid lack of fuel when they're stuck in sea and they need to get back safely to land. This display, of course, installed into the panel with different other devices that he is using to monitor all the conditions of their own boat. Another example display is very popular for waste trucks and heavy-duty trucks when you install the axle load sensors. Axle load sensor gives you information about load and weight, and to avoid penalties, driver need to know what's the maximum he can load of weight onto his truck, and then to stop when it reaches maximum limit. For drivers, of course, and displaying the cabin is also useful to see this limit of weight on loads. Going further about what kind of models we can see on display. When we are talking about universal model, it comes with letter U. There is no preconfigured screens and no limitation on number of messages. It's useful feature because you can configure your display as you wish. So to put icons or parameters as you need it without any limitation. Of course, it will take time for you to pre-configure, but for further installations, you already have your own profile of this display, and nothing will stop you from. No, sorry. I mean, will be useful for you to put unique parameters for your customers, because customers are different, and per each group of customers, you will provide them what they need. Another types of display, it's T, G, and M. T means trucks. There are 26 pre-configured screens, but those screens are not possible to delete. The only way is to add a couple of screen additionally. D version is for tractor. There are 27 pre-configured screens. Also, there is limit to delete some screens, but some spaces is available to add a little bit more, but not like universal version where you can do everything as you wish. M marine is 37 pre-configured screens, and also some limits. All those configuration you can find actually in the manual. There is a very clear picture of what screens are available on a specific model of displays, because they are also connected to specific fuel level sensors or fuel flow meters and number of fuel flow meters. Depending on your case, you can find and purchase from us display already with pre-configuration or universal. So up to you and your choice. I wish to ask Paul right now to show you how display works in real time, and he will a little bit explain better and show you on display about screens. And
please attention on display. Here's the main menu. Is it visible? Okay. So you can see main menu of our display 35. We can change a group of parameters. Let's start from S6. Here you can see a group of parameters: tanks, flow meters, telematics, and DAC. For example, we need to choose tanks. Here you can see information about volume in tanks number 1 and tanks number 2 in one screen. Also, information about fuel level also available for viewing. Temperature from both tanks on screen number 3. And information about fuel volume in percent is available for screen number 4. That is example of using information from S6 bus from our 2 fuel level sensors on our displays. That's example. Anything else?
I will explain. So screen configuration on display allows to create 21 group of screens. Each group has 10 screens, and you can add 1 or 2 parameters on each screen. Configuration of display options allows to add name of parameters and from the list of offered options, and also to add icon for quick identification of parameter. This icon is also can be chosen from offered list, but you have a choice what picture to put in accordance with your parameter. Going further, and we can talk about FMS crocodile device. Sometimes we call it orange device. Maybe if you listen our previous presentation, we were talking about CAN bus contactless readers. The colors was green, blue, red, and this one is orange. FMS crocodile, as I mentioned already, has it's this one. My operator helps me to show you all products. FMS crocodile has function of contactless connection to wires, so we don't have direct electrical contact with wires. We just listen signal around, so we protect the guarantee of wires. Wires goes into mouth of crocodile, and it's easy just to clip FMS and mouse device. Then main function is FMS data protocol. So data comes as selected filters, and with added also address of messages. So you shouldn't care about millions of messages that are spamming your GPS tracker. You get specific FMS protocols and number of parameters useful for telematics. When we are talking about applications, of course, CAN bus are different, and applications can be also different. One type of application is just simple, one CAN bus and one GPS tracker. Main function here is that FMS crocodile protects wires of CAN bus from direct request from GPS tracker. Sometimes it's safe not to ask anything to CAN bus from GPS tracker, because you may cause lockdown of electronic CAN bus, and even when vehicle is running on the road, or when hackers attack your tracker and ask electronic CAN bus of the vehicle or put some spam there, it's also may cause lockdown. It's dangerous on the road. Another application is also GPS tracker and one CAN bus, but main advantage here is that not always we can find fuel consumption per trip in CAN bus. Just liters per hour or in instant fuel consumption. Then FMS accumulates those liters per hour and generates parameter like fuel consumption per trip. It's important if you analyze your trip data. Several other applications when we have CAN bus of the vehicle, but we also need to combine several fuel flow meters and fuel level sensors and connect everything into one input of GPS tracker. And another type is two CAN buses. It can be vehicles on the market where you will find two CAN buses. Usually it's new trucks, and it's available in Europe, but maybe other countries already have also those type of trucks where two CAN buses, and both parameters are running inside both CAN buses. Purposes of input-output models, if you remember, we are talking at the beginning of our webinar, it's converters from analog to digital signals, and analog signal sensors can be taken from exaload sensors, fluid temperature sensors, analog controllers or dashboards, any type of analog sensors, and we need to convert to GPS tracker via CAN, and vice versa, we can also do that. Models types of CAN bus converters, one is a smaller one, it's for usage purposes, and another is professional one. MasterCAN DAC 15 it's easy logic, one input CAN and 5 output, so 15, 1 and 5. And another more professional DAC MasterCAN, its logic also inputs are 21 and inputs of analog signal and 13 outputs of analog signals. And of course, input will be CAN, but you can find lots of inputs for this professional device to play with conversion of data. My Paul is showing you MasterCAN on our stand. You can see it's
how does it look. It's our DAC device, 20 watt 113. So here's too many inputs, physical inputs, like analog, frequency, current, resistance, all possible kind. So also you can see outputs, physical outputs. It allows us take some useful information from standard CAN bus and convert it to analog outputs. So these sockets allows us to connect our analog signal to some analog inputs of, for example, your device.
Analog inputs, outputs, it's a Monix connector, and it's universal to apply to GPS trackers and your cabling system. Going further, what task of MasterCAN Tool? It's a CAN bus analyzer simulator. Main function is to scan data in CAN bus. When you are coming to vehicle, you don't know what parameters are available there, what parameters will be useful for me and for my customer when I'm installing those devices. Then you attach MasterCAN Tool and you scan data in CAN bus. You find those parameters. There are two types of MasterCAN Tool device. One is light version and another one is pro version. Light allows just to scan, and pro version allows to scan and also simulate data in the office on the table of your whole system with GPS tracking. So create CAN bus in the table and use it for development purposes. Also, if we are talking about errors, we need to identify what errors are coming in electronics bus, electronic CAN bus, and we need to monitor status of CAN bus and also additional devices that we connected to CAN network. As I already mentioned, application one, it's to analyze data of standard vehicle CAN bus. It's used with MasterCAN Tool Lite version, and second application is MasterCAN Tool Pro. We check condition of all devices and maintenance of 6 units. S6 units, it's all our devices, fuel level sensors, fuel flow meters, but it also allows to simultaneously check CAN bus of the vehicle and see all together how it's functioning, or to find identify some errors in this network. Going further about advantages of analyzer simulator, unfortunately, not all our customers know about this product and how useful this product can be used for those who are working with CAN bus devices and provide these solutions to your customers. So advantages of MasterCAN tool is to display parameters in text view. It's convenient to see name of those parameters and not like PGN or SPN numbers, just numbers of messages. Because if you take just numbers, you need to open some catalog and find the correspondence of those numbers to text parameters, to name of parameters. This function is provided with our MasterCAN tool. Another advantage is to display current values of those parameters in real time. When you come into CAN bus and attach MasterCAN tool for scanning data, you see that PGN parameter and also value. Let's say if you were talking about fuel level in CAN bus, you see fuel level in liters or percentage of volumes, depending how it's available. Also allows to select specific group of parameters from CAN bus. Let's say I don't need lots of them. I just need to find specific parameter from CAN bus. Then I make this selection with help of MasterCAN tool. Also, I can create a group of messages for my easy work and for quick understanding and data processing, as well as transmission to GPS tracker. And if I need to identify CAN bus load and speed, it also gives me possibility to do that. So we are coming to the end of our webinar. I think we mentioned all information about products related to MasterCAN tools that I was talking at the beginning in previous slide, in first slide. So we were talking about MasterCAN data converters. Those converters are from one protocol to another, from J1939 protocol to 1708 and to RS-232, 45 or Modbus interfaces. We were talking about MasterCAN Display 35. This device is used in combination with our fuel sensors or axle load sensors and installed in the cabin to read data locally. We were talking about FMS contactless gateways, two-in-one device, contactless connection to CAN bus, and FMS protocol as filtered and process parameters from CAN bus and transmitted to GPS tracker. MasterCAN tool, it's for more professional, I would say, approach to scanning CAN bus and development purposes. MasterCAN DAC converters from analog signals to digital signals. So you can find more information about Technoton in our open links, and we ask you to follow if you're interested in making partnership with Technoton, of course. I hope all of you who are listening and attending our webinars, you are interested to be strong partners. So we post on our links news, and probably will continue our webinars with deeper technical information now or maybe further, depending on our time. And I ask you to ask, please, your questions. So we will answer together with Paul with all details as possible to your questions. All right. Our notebook unfortunately doesn't show questions, but we can read from our big screen. So can you share this presentation for further study? Of course, it will be opened and we will share, ask your managers, we will do that. And probably we'll put this presentation into our YouTube channel. It will be available. As usual, we are opened. Do you have any other questions? Please ask. I understand CAN bus topic is difficult and needs more practice. So for us, it's also practice, practice, and practice. Can the CAN bus analyzer used for car CAN bus? Yes, of course, it can be used for CAN bus, and this is the main purpose to work with CAN bus of cars. I would say you mean here cars, small cars and vans. But you should understand that the speed of messages are different if you're talking about cars and heavy-duty trucks. Small cars, they have speed of data as 11 kilobits per second, and heavy-duty trucks has bigger 29
Not
kilobits
speed, but identifier with...
Paul, yeah, go ahead.
Normally, we faced with two types of CAN bus. One has 29 bits identifier, another kind of is with 11 bytes identifier. So our tools can work with both kind of buses.
So yes, it's available. If simply answer your question, you can use it. To connect S6 and J1939 networks simultaneously to MasterCAN 25, do we need
display.
a CAN crocodile display? Here it means, do we need a crocodile for J1939, or can we go directly with Cooper wires? About Cooper wires, it's your choice. You can go directly with Cooper wires to your CAN bus, but it's not safe. And as I mentioned, if wires are under guarantee, better to use contactless connection, even to protect CAN bus, not to cut electronics and CAN bus of the vehicle.
One modification. Normally, our devices like display sacrifice work in active mode, so that's not allows us to connect to CAN bus directly. So this means normally we use our uncontacted readers for work with the standard CAN bus, like FMSCrocodile.
Yeah, to protect even CAN bus from active questions of GPS tracker and system. But talking about MasterCAN Display, we answered a question about way of connection to CAN bus. MasterCAN Display, you can connect both J1939 networks and I think we answered the question about J1939 networks. So yes, it can be connected to display by ways of direct connection to CAN bus wires or with contactless readers. And I hope you understand the difference why you need to use contactless connection to CAN bus. Let's go further. How can we identify the wires on van who the 9 to 5 cars to measure fuel?
Okay. We have only some common rules how to identify CAN bus on a real car. Normally, we see at the wires at the view of a wires, and we can also use a multimeter like a voltmeter to identify level of voltage on these wires. We know that CAN wires normally has a voltage about 2.5 volts and has a view like a pair of wires with different colors. So that's how to say it, simplest way to identify a CAN bus on a bus. Next step, we need to connect to these wires like with tools like our reader, like our tools, to see which parameters we can read from this from such bus, because not all the time we can read useful information from CAN bus. Sometimes there's some specific information for normal driving, for some specific information of units of vehicles, not useful for us, not useful for vehicle monitoring. So we need to know exactly which data we can get from this bus.
So it's practice and more practice in real way, real approach. OBD connection or other units where it's connected to engine or ABS data. So referring to a previous question, we want to show you a slide in previous presentation that was yesterday, how to find signal from CAN bus. You can use oscillograph, that this is what Paul mentioned, or multimeter, to see data. You can find how signal looks in looks on multimeter or small screen of this device, and different values, signals of those devices. And generally, you can try to connect to port, OBD port, if you find those data, okay, useful and easy for you. But as I mentioned, OBD port usually is used for diagnostic purposes, and it's not always available for telematics data. That's why another place like open dashboard with lots of wires inside, and find wires according to colors. Those installers who all the day works with CAN bus devices, they know even colors per wires. It not specifically colors will be all the time the same from one vehicle to another vehicle, depending on manufacturer. But plus minus, you can find close of that. And of course, place for CAN bus, you should understand, it's different depending on CAN bus manufacturer, vehicle manufacturer. Even tractors or trucks or small cars, vans, they're different in electronics. Everybody develop according to their wishes, desires, and not like universal approach.
One more way to identify CAN bus is measuring resistance between wires. Normally, resistance between two wires of CAN bus should be about 60 ohms. So
60 ohms. I have a question regarding DFM 250 fuel meter. Can we resolve the values of fuel meter? I mean, is there any data register to reset fuel meter values? Okay, we can answer even a question about fuel flow meters. Yes, it's possible to clear. And I was talking in my webinar several days ago DFM fuel flow meter has several counters, but referring to this question, there are two counters. One counter is total, it's unresetable, and it accumulates data all the time from the beginning of lifetime of DFM. And another counter is special one. It is resetable or clearable, and to work with this counter, you can reset fuel data, and it will be accumulated during period that you need to monitor this fuel data. So there are two different counters, and to reset this data, you can put signal from your GPS tracker depending on what brand you're using, or to go locally and with the key screen or magnetic key to clear this counter on screen of DFM. But your model 250 doesn't have a screen, so to reset counter will be possible only through GPS tracker to give signal there. And also, besides GPS tracker function, where you can reset this counter, it's possible to do on display. If you're using DFM fuel flow meter 250 with display, you will put, like, show you two buttons. Just a second, show you with video. Нет, вот эти, два вот этих следующих. As I practice in real installation, these two buttons, when you hold them for a couple of seconds, your counter will be clearable, but not at the beginning. You need to find your we go to fuel flow meters, and we need to find clearable counter, resetable counter.
Next.
If this model of display has this resetable counter, but you will see name resetable and push buttons, it goes to 0.0. This display only Russian language, but you understand, when you configure your own display, you will set up language as you need: French, English, or Russian. As you need. Of course, in your case, it will be English, and the parameters will be English. Here in our stand, we use only for example. Going further to questions. One moment, when we are switching screens from camera to netbook, you understand it takes time. CAN bus analyzer able to read SAE J1939 and J1939 protocols? Well, it's even
specific
double
protocols, but if we can read this protocol anyway, we can show rough data from this bus, if it's available to read. But I don't know exactly what kind of protocol are you asking about?
If you know, some protocols are logical and physical. So if 2284 is physical, probably logical level of this protocol will be different. So we need to analyze this protocol. If you give more information details, of course, we will help you to identify if it's possible to read with SAE as well. Can tell us more about the service? characteristics that collect data. So service requirements, service characters are the same as we are reading any type of additional sensors. You're receiving raw data to server, but before you receive the data to server, you set up, configure PGN parameters in GPS tracker. You need to go through configuration process on GPS tracker. Then on server, you will receive PGN, its number of parameter of message, and then values. When you open a catalog, or we have a special website more about S6 technology, you can find the parameters names and identify this PGN number with this parameter name. And then you configure those numbers into parameters and create graphics on server. So there are no specific requirements per server, but to play with those parameters, PGNs, you will need to follow. Please, how can we reconcile left-over tank bottom with the calibration? This is a question related to what? To DUT fuel level sensor. Can you please specify your question? Going further, another questions. Again, how can one have real-time data acquisition remotely via GPS, GSM, and GPRS? Can you help me, Pavel?
Probably you're asking us about how we will work with the data from bus. If we're speaking about our offline devices like MasterCAN Tool, we need to get to the car directly and work there. So we will run a special software on our laptop and make physical connection to CAN bus to see all parameters from such CAN bus. There's only one way to analyze everything. Then, when we will see which data we have in such bus, we can choose some important for us and configure our GPS tracking device for taking this information from CAN bus and transmitting to server side.
The tool that we are talking, it's called MasterCAN Tool for scan and simulation of CAN bus data. Okay, that's all questions that we have here. If you have some specific questions, please ask further. We can wait here, or if you are not ready to ask right now, you can ask further after presentation to our managers, technical guys or sales managers. Our webinars will be posted in YouTube channel, and all videos and presentation will be sent to all participants of webinars today. So you will get all information that you need. All right, that's all. So keeping in touch. Have a good day. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.
Thank you.